Hello and welcome. Before I start, a couple of things. Number one, this is not a paid advertisement. So everything I say, everything I show in this video or in all my videos is just my personal opinion. Neither my YouTube channel nor any of the videos nor my blog are monetized. So that's just for fun. Just that you know. The next thing is I plan to do this as one big video. Turned out it's way too long, so I split it up. This is part one, and last but not least, my friend Joey gave me the kind permission to show some of his photos, some of his amazing low-light photography photos in this video. So please check out his website, lastlights.net. Not only is it filled with amazing low-light photography, but also you will find also a lot of free ebooks, especially about low-light photography, dusk and dawn photography. So go there, click, the link is in the description also on superimposed here on this video. So let's start.
The eternal struggle, taking our tripods with us or not. If yes, which one? If no, which one not? That didn't make any sense, right? Okay, well, nevertheless, tripods are often called the most essential piece of gear. And just like with any other piece of gear, there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all tripod. There are a lot of different tripods, and they're all made for different shooting scenarios. So in this video, I will talk about tripods. What about that, right? What about tripods? My name's Pete. I like pictures. Let's start. What do we need tripods for? Well, certainly the most obvious reason for using a tripod is to stabilize the camera, to lock the camera down, to avoid camera shake, to avoid vibrations, and therefore to avoid blurry pictures. And when will that be the case? Well, of course, with longer exposure times, either in low light photography or when using longer focal lengths, right, with the real telephoto lenses that are hard to handhold. So then tripods come in really handy. But of course, other types of scenarios come also to mind when we want to have our hands free, or when we need to have our hands free in product photography, in food photography, for example. Sometimes in abstract photography, when we want to fumble around with a setting, depending on, of course, what we want to do. So in all sorts of, how can I call that, studio photography, but also in landscape photography. Sometimes we want to set the camera up, right, compose the shot and just wait for the right moment, for the right light, or until the annoying people walked out of the frame. And they're always annoying people. So tripods come in really handy in these sorts of situations. There's more, of course, macro photography, astrophotography, you name it. But, well, tripods not only have advantages, they also have disadvantages. They are one more piece of gear to carry around. They're heavy, bulky sometimes, right? And it takes time to set them up and put together again. So yes, tripods will slow us down. But that slowing down can also have its advantages, right? Because we can really thoroughly compose the shot. We don't rush. We probably take more time. So it depends, of course, a lot on your personal way of photography. But, well, yeah, tripods can come in handy. If you need a tripod, that's, of course, upon you to decide. I thought about what might be the most important things that you want to take a look into when considering to get a tripod or to get a new tripod. I got a new tripod just yesterday, this little thing, after my previous tripod broke. So I had to think about, what do I really want to have in a tripod? And this is what I came up with. Certainly one of the most important factors is stability right? The stability of the tripod. We want to stabilize our shot, so our tripod has to really be stable, and that depends on a couple of factors. Lightweight tripods, especially of course travel tripods, are often very shaky, or can be very shaky. Why is that? Some of them have really thin legs, and depending on the material the tripod is made of, and I'm going to talk about the material a bit later, they can even bend very easily. And that is particularly important to have in mind when using bigger and heavier cameras on the tripod, or cameras with really big and heavy lenses. So you might want to check the load capacity of your future tripod, if it can really hold your camera, and can hold your camera when you attach a really big and heavy lens. Rubber feet are really great for interior use, when, well, if you have a smooth surface that you put the camera on, that it doesn't slide around, or to avoid scratches. But if you're outside, you might consider to have a tripod that has metal spikes. If your tripod has both, cool, then you're good to go on both sides. I will talk about the tripod head separately a bit later, but there's a reason why you can buy tripod heads separately from the tripod itself, at least for the more, let's say, professional tripods. One reason is that there are different tripod heads for different shooting scenarios, right? A good tripod head is usually worth its money. Check that the screws fit tightly, right? That they don't wiggle after you screwed them in, and really keep the camera in place. That is a really important thing. If you have one of these tripod heads, and that was an issue with the tripod that I had before, if you have a panorama head, then really check that if you screw really tighten the screw, that the tripod head doesn't move. That happened with that one. So everything was horizontal, right? The horizon line was straight, and then I tightened the screw, and then I had the slight tilt. So that was something that really annoyed me with that head. It's a good head so far, but it wasn't really reliable. Same goes for the leg locks. Do they feel robust and reliable? Have in mind that you will open and close the leg locks quite a lot to extend and retract your tripod. There are basically two types of leg locks. There are flip locks, like this one, right? They just snap in. Over the last, like, I don't know, 10-15 years, I almost exclusively worked with flip locks. I never had any sort of problem with them, neither in photography nor in videography. They can be jammed by debris, so they're not weather sealed, but unless you don't carry your tripod around in very dusty or sandy areas, if you don't shoot a lot on beaches or something, this shouldn't be a big problem. I never had a problem with that, but yeah, I read and heard that some people had problems with that. Another thing that can happen with flip locks is that they loosen over time, but they can be retightened, usually with a very simple hex wrench. Most of the time the appropriate hex wrench is even shipped with the tripod. Twist locks, on the other hand, are better weather sealed, so they might be the better choice when you use your tripod mostly outside. As I said, I never had any problem with flip locks, but I'm curious. This is the first tripod that I bought that has twist locks, so in case I run into trouble, I will certainly let you know. Another factor for the stability of your tripod is how far you can spread the legs. So the wider the angle, and I can show you here, the more stability the tripod will provide. And in that case, you can even spread the legs to a 180 degree So that's pretty cool. Another advantage of that is, of course, I don't know if you saw that, right? Another advantage of that, of course, is that you can get really low with the camera. In this case, in this particular case, I can remove the middle column and replace it with a very short one, so I can go down really low. So there's one thing that I forgot, a big advantage, of course, of tripods in general, is that in some cases they allow us to take photos or video, for that matter, right, more easily from very unusual perspectives that are hard or even not at all possible when not using a tripod. So the angle, the further you can spread your tripod's legs apart, the more stability they will provide. Last but not least, and I think this might be one of the most important factors indeed, and especially since this factor also comes to play when thinking about why not to get a tripod, the weight, which really adds to the stability of your tripod. The heavier your tripod is, the more stability your tripod will provide. While thinking about, for example, long exposures of a couple of seconds or even minutes, sometimes even the slightest breeze can shake your camera and your tripod. When you have a really lightweight tripod, especially travel tripods, right, carbon fiber tripods, I will talk about the material in a couple of minutes. They can be shaken by vibration or just walk past, and so the more heavy your tripod, the more stability it provides. But well, who wants to carry around really heavy tripods? There's something that really can help with that, because some tripods, and I will have to put the legs together again of that one, have a counterweight hook. So at the middle column, so you can, and I made that somewhere, I have it, here it is. I have a little weight that I could or can carry around with me, and then just hang on that hook to provide, to add some extra weight to the tripod. And that comes in also handy, very handy, if your tripod allows you to attach the middle column horizontally. So like in this case, I can remove the middle column, right? Then bring that part up and, oopsie, wrong. Attach the middle column horizontally, and it also has a counterweight hook. So I can hang a counterweight at the middle column so that the tripod doesn't tilt and fall down when I attach a camera onto that other part, and the second part of this tripod, of course, with the tripod's head. So I probably won't be able to, I think the screw is too big for the camera itself. So weight adds to stability, but well, travel tripods usually shouldn't be too heavy. But well, if your tripod doesn't have a counterweight hook, I saw somewhere there are sort of bags that you can attach to the legs of your tripod and put some weights in there. So I'm pretty sure that there are also a couple of DIY ideas how to stabilize your tripod. I haven't researched that. I should do that. So if you have any ideas, if you have experiences how to add more weight to your tripod, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments below, right? So yeah, with that having said, let's go to the next point. Let's go to material, because the material our tripods are made of is of utter importance if we talk about weight. Plastic tripods are usually the most lightweight ones, and also usually the most inexpensive ones. Problem is they break super easily, And I mentioned in the beginning that one of my tripods broke. No, it wasn't a plastic tripod, it was an aluminum tripod, but the mount of the tripod, where I attached the middle column to the tripod itself, broke because it was plastic. So that is something you might want to really check, whether the mount where your middle column is attached to the tripod, the material of that, because it was really thin plastic. I didn't see that because I bought the tripod online. And I will say it like it is. I'm a big fan of, well, actually I'm not really a big fan of buying stuff online. You can find really cool and inexpensive stuff online, of course, but I usually look at the stuff before in a shop or ask people, or when I rarely buy stuff online that I haven't had in my hands before, and I will certainly never ever do that again with a tripod. But I don't think I will have to buy a new tripod very soon, because I got this one, and so far I'm really super happy with that. So plastic tripods, I mentioned it, they will bend very easily, they will break very easily, and at least with the ones that I had or worked with, they start creaking, which is probably not so much a problem with photography, except for, of course, you long time nighttime photography. Sometimes creaking is not really something you want, but with videography, it's just a creaking tripod is absolutely unusable. Very lightweight, but also extremely expensive are carbon fiber tripods. They are very stable, have very good vibration dampening, are very lightweight, but also I never experienced that myself, but it seems they break very easily as well, or comparatively easy, well, at least in direct comparison to aluminum tripods like this one. They're a bit heavier, but they also have very good vibration dampening, and they are comparatively inexpensive and very durable, and if they don't have plastic parts in them, that is. So my tripods so far, all of them that I had so far, or really worked with so far, were or are aluminum tripods, like the one that my camera's on. That's a Specialized video tripod, and also my photography tripod. So these are probably the three most common types of tripods: plastic tripods, carbon fiber tripods, and aluminum tripods. There are other ones made out of wood, very often used in studio photography, but they're also like the weirdest materials that I can't even pronounce, up to steel tripods. But yeah, they are usually only used by real professional photographers or photographers who have special needs for their tripods. As a general rule, to maximize stability with your tripod is to extend the legs from top to bottom. So the upper part first and then the lower parts. Reason is that the lower parts of the legs are usually very thin, and they can be more shaky than the bigger ones. So that's one thing. The next thing is, if even fully extended legs won't give you the maximum desired height and you have to use the middle column, always use the middle column last, to simple physics, right? So that your tripod won't tilt over and that you have maximum stability.
This is the end of part 1 of this video. If you liked it, consider to send it a thumbs up, and even if you like my videos, maybe even subscribe to my channel. If you do, then be sure to click that little bell icon to get a notification to my YouTube whenever I post something new. The second part will be posted in a couple of days. It's already recorded. I just have to fine-tune it. So yeah, this one's for today. Bye bye. Till next time.